In this episode of the Business of E-commerce, I talk about 4 ways in-person events can help grow your business. This is the Business of E-commerce, episode 70. This episode of the Business of E-commerce is sponsored by Drip. Drip is the world's first e-commerce CRM, and it's a CRM I personally use here in the Business of E-commerce. Now, if you're ever in an e-commerce store, you need to give Drip a try, and here's why. They have both one-click integrations with Shopify and Magento, so it's super easy to get started and integrate with. Once you're there, they have all the segmentation, email personalization, and revenue dashboards that you need to give you an overview of how your emails are doing, how your campaigns are performing. But what really sets Drip aside is their visual workflow builder. It allows you to drag and drop different rules and build these workflows on how you want your emails to perform, decisions. It's super powerful, and it lets you get started quickly and build basic rules at first, and then over time you can get more and more complex. So it's something not other automation tools allow you to jump in there fast and then also get more complexity over time with all that power underneath the hood. So if you want to see why other e-commerce store owners are getting from Drip from other ASPs like MailChimp, Drip is offering an exclusive deal for our Business of E-commerce listeners. They normally have a 15-day trial, but if you sign up with the following URL, they're actually going to give a 60-day trial. So definitely check that out. Just go to drip.com/BOE. That's drip.com/BOE, and you can check them out. Now on to the show. Welcome to the Business of E-commerce, the show that helps e-commerce retailers start, launch, and grow their e-commerce business. I'm your host, Charles Pileski, and I'm here today to talk about 4 ways that in-person events can help grow your business. So the past couple of weeks, I've been traveling, been to a couple different conferences, both this week, last week, and kind of found a whole bunch of things helpful. Talking to some folks at the conferences, I've realized a lot of people, it was their first time there. A lot of other founders, just people that worked at different companies said, this is something they do very often. And it's something that over the past few years, I've been doing more and more of. And I've kind of started to see the value. And it wasn't exactly clear why until I started doing it. So I listed out 4 ways that were kind of surprising to me of benefits that I've gotten personally from starting to do these over the past few years. Going to these are in particular conferences, but anything like networking events, masterminds, any sort of groups you're actually getting out in person and meeting other possibly founders, just folks in your industry. Super helpful. So here's 4 ways that were surprising to me that definitely has helped me go into these different in-person events. So number 1, finding out the latest tactics and strategies is something I didn't quite realize, but a lot of times speakers or even other attendees are talking about what's working for them today. And when you read different things online, you're looking at blog posts, that sort of things, a lot of times, let's say it's a marketing strategy, some sort of tactic, it's what's worked last year or before. It's something that's kind of already come over the hill and it's now in the decline. But a lot of times when you go to these in-person events, a lot of the talks are based around what's working today. What is the thing working right now? Or even other attendees I found talking to them, you find out what's working right now in their business. This is one of these super important things. There's not many other places you can get it, possibly podcasts, but you find like this one. But you do find a lot of high quality speaker talks and attendees just talking about, hey, here's what we've tried in our business, and here's what's working. And it really is kind of the latest stuff, and that's the cool part on. It's not, hey, some SEO tactic that used to work, 24 months ago. Google changed the algorithm, but there's some blog posts and it's still talking about it. Or people are trying to sell something online and they're trying to get you to buy into some tactics that are already come and gone. These are usually what's working now. And it's just great. It's one of the few ways I found that you can reliably find out what's working today. And so that's been super helpful to me. Number 2, talk to other attendees about what's working in their business and what are the challenges in their business. I've kind of realized a lot of times when you talk to other folks online and that sort of thing, everyone kind of paints a picture of everything's perfect or kind of here's what we're doing on the outside. But when you actually meet other either people in the industry or other founders in person, a lot of times people open up a lot more, where they kind of let you know, hey, here are some things we tried that didn't work. Here are some things that we thought they were going to work out and they bombed, but here's a couple things that have really worked well for us. I found these are kind of the things that you don't find unless you're talking to people in person. A lot of times online, you are talking to people, but they're very guarded is the best way of explaining it. Once you kind of have, let's say, lunch with people, or a lot of them have drinks after, that sort of things, just kind of talking to the attendees in the hall, you end up learning a lot more and kind of finding, hey, maybe some of the challenges you're having are actually very similar to challenges they're having. And you start to understand, hey, maybe this is actually a problem for everyone, and it's not just me. So it gives you a lot of insight into other people's businesses and other people's experiences that you can't necessarily get online or from reading or even, books or anything like that. It's something you can only really get when you talk with people in person, one-on-one. And I found that super helpful. Not one of the things I realized kind of years ago that in-person events would actually do and help with. Number 3, the same idea, but you start to build these tighter relationships with other attendees. A lot of times you all start going to kind of the same events, you see the same people, you start having a circle where you kind of you see the same people again and again. At that point, you start to become actual friends with a lot of folks at these events. And I've even had times where I've had questions, I've had just some things I need to kind of chat through. And I've been able to reach out with people I've met at different in-person events and say, hey, can we just jump on a call? I have some things that are kind of going on. It would just be great to get your opinion. And that's been super helpful to know that I've met these people. They've been through something that I'm about to go through, but I can actually reach out to them and have this one-on-one conversation. Now, maybe just over the phone at that point, but actually be able to talk about it and have a real relationship and have different folks now in your network with different experiences that you can tap into. And I've had people do it the other way too, call me and kind of, hey, I want to run this by you, and I'm happy to help. And it's one of those things that if somebody did it cold completely online, just emailed you and said, hey, can we get coffee? It's usually okay, maybe not. It's one of those things, right? But if it's someone that you've met in person a few times, and you actually have this relationship with them at that point, you're up to say, yeah, sure, let's do it. Let's catch up. Let's see what's been going on. Because you're really kind of building up an actual friendship at that point. And then it's just normal to have talks, and you're able to bounce stuff off each other and be open with them, which is great, and get advice. 4th way, and this is kind of one of these things, didn't see this coming until I started doing it, but it gets your mind out of the day-to-day of your business and more on this high level of your business. And this is something one could argue that you should be doing anyway, but it's not easy, right? Every day you're working in the business, you're doing what you need to do, you start getting in the weeds, right? You start focusing, tunnel vision, that sort of thing. Once you kind of back off, you're still working and you're still thinking about what you do, but you're not doing it actively. So you get to kind of think about it at that point at a higher level, kind of more strategic in saying, hey, is this something we should be doing? What direction should we go in? So I've even realized there's some conferences throughout the year where I go and I almost use them as like this point in time that each year, to say, okay, let's pause for a moment. Is this the direction we want to be going in? Do we want to shift a little bit? Shift our strategies? Do we want to rethink kind of some marketing or whatever it happens to be? And it gives you that point in time to say every year, okay, here, it happens the same time every year. Let's go. Kind of talk to other folks, see what's working, and start really thinking about, okay, here's what's working in their business. Here's what's everyone talking about this year. Am I on the right path? Or do I want to change direction slightly? Do I want to implement something new? Maybe we're going on a bad path. But it gives you that moment of a couple days just not in the weeds all of a sudden, where you actually get to think strategically and really think about the business from a point of view of, hey, let's do this at a high level. And that's not something I knew going into this, where you think you do once in a while, but it really helps to pull yourself out just a couple days at a time and really think about it at that level to get that high level view of the business. And you're still working, thinking about business. And that's the thing. It's different than going on a vacation, going to Disneyland, right? Where your mind is off, right? Now you're not thinking about business, work, anything like that. You're completely just off on vacation. This isn't that. You're still there thinking about what you do, but not at the day-to-day level. And that's the real benefit there, that you get to think, but at that higher level. And that's one of those huge things. And just giving yourself a chance to do that every year, super valuable. So 4 things real quick. Find out latest tactics and strategies, talk with other attendees, see what's working, see what their challenges are, get tighter relationships with other attendees, and also take your mind out of the day-to-day. These are 4 things, like I said, that did not see coming. They were totally surprising. I thought you kind of went, heard the talks, never really knew. I thought it was basically just an extension of something you heard on a podcast or read in a book. But there really is something different to it where I'd highly recommend everyone just check it out, try it. And you kind of have to go a couple times to a particular event. You also have to find some events, I realized, that fit you, right? Where I've gone to some different ones and it's just not my crowd. It's not, it's not your people sort of thing. And you go and you're like, maybe it's not the best fit. There's some just different people here, right? Then you go to some others where you're like, this is it. Everyone here, I fit in. We can talk to each other, and it's great. I think once you find that group and you find other folks just like you, or at least in a similar way you can have this camaraderie, that's super beneficial. So I'd say everyone should find some events with folks just like themselves, maybe similar businesses, similar points in their business, whatever happens to be, but just groups that you click with. And once you do, you should really commit to going to that event. Hopefully it's at least once a year, and just commit to that, because I think it's super helpful and really in the long term does help to grow the business and move the needle. So I hope that's helpful. Check back next week for another episode. Thanks. Have a good one.